Hey everyone, welcome to Locked In, the channel that brings the best college football intel to the modern fan. We appreciate all of you who've watched our channel and would love for you to become part of the channel by clicking the subscribe button. This will help us become more visible on YouTube and help us achieve our goal of raising football IQs everywhere through in depth analysis in plain English. Thanks everyone. Stay locked in.
I feel like I said early on, probably really before the season, I was like, there's a lot of teams this year that have really big question marks, and they should be good. We don't know if they're going to be good. I mean, you had the top teams coming in with a new quarterback, so all the standard teams that have been running college football, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, they had new quarterbacks going into the season. So that was obviously very interesting. And then you had teams like Washington, Michigan, Florida State, uh,
Oregon.
Oregon, who basically brought everybody back and added a couple extra transfers and key positions that were going to make a run. So they were older teams. And so that made it very intriguing when the season, was just beginning. And then probably like week 3 or 4, all those teams show like, hey, they can all win games. And I'm pretty sure I've actually mentioned this to at least Chance, but probably both of you. I know I talked to my dad about it, who's a coach, and I talked to one of my best friends who he stays very locked in with all things college football every day. And I just said, this is the greatest. This is one of the greatest years as far as parity goes in college football that I can remember. Um, so I'm 26, almost 27, and I don't remember a time other than the going back and watching the late 90s where you had so many teams that I felt like could beat everybody else. And there was just so much parity this year, which is why it was such a travesty that we are 1 year short of the 12-team playoff. And I could beat
Mhm.
that. I could beat that dead horse constantly, just because I was in love with the parity of this year. And I feel like, I know, from an FSU fan standpoint, and I've been getting just absolutely buried because of the end of the season and the way we got beat by Georgia and whatever. But prior to the bowl game, so a time from selection Sunday to the bowl game, it was just constantly people telling me, FSU's terrible because they played close with this team and this team. Well, most of those people just ignore the argument for every other top team this year, because that was something that was so interesting about college football. That's what makes it fun every year, but this year in particular, all of the top teams played bad games. All of the top teams should have lost a game, but they came out and they won. And there were a few top teams that did lose a game. So I thought that this year was just beautiful. Why we love football. The matchups mean something. Teams who can do something better than another team, when they match up against certain other squads, they're going to have success. And then you match them up against a different team, and they'll totally fail just based off matchups. And that's something I don't think is talked about enough. So just this year was a really good year of college football. I obviously loved it seeing my team, who's been absolutely horrid for the last 6 years, other than last year, do something great. Ended on a terrible note, and that made me want to throw up. But despite that, I'm still very appreciative of seeing my team in the win column 13 times. That's something that's very special. But just in general, as a fan of football, this was a really, really good year. So I'm very sad that we are exiting the 2023 season. I'm hoping for a good 2024. I don't know quite what to expect for next year. We haven't done our analysis on all the teams going into next year, which I think we're start getting into at some point in the offseason. But I'm very thankful for this football season. It has been a very fun one.
Yeah, and to add on to your parody, say I think one of the most exciting things about watching the semis is that while I don't think they pick the best teams to necessarily be in the semis, I think that the teams that were picked, it was honestly hard to tell who was going to win to the naked eye. Say when you look at Texas, Texas doesn't have much film that looks anything like they played a team like Washington. And at the same time, there's no film for Washington that it's like this is a team like Texas. You're going to see this team run the ball on you, and Texas honestly could have ran the ball all night and won by as much as they wanted to and controlled the clock, but so they didn't. It's like Washington hadn't saw it all year. Michigan didn't see anybody like Jalen Milroe, so I mean they didn't see a line with the scheme that the SEC has in Alabama specifically, where they run the ball as effectively. Say Ohio State might be the closest thing you see to it, and it's like that doesn't even do it justice for what you saw
Mhm.
today. So I mean, if to the naked eye, I mean, obviously we knew, but like to the naked eye, like you couldn't really tell with a lot of these games, and I would say a lot of the sports books couldn't tell. Say most of the semis were both almost 50-50 evenly split.
Everyone here at Locked In wants to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed to, liked, and commented on our channel. We've had a blast bringing great college football analysis to you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to share your thoughts, we'd love to see your comments. Till next time, stay locked in.